Yeah, we're back. We're here as always. You know, life is funny, HNIC. It really is, man. You know what the funny part about life is?
What's that?
That something will always happen that'll make you realize that you've been lying to yourself, man. So I'm standing in line at the store, motherfucker behind me, a boy about 16 years old behind me and shit, talking to his mama. And he was complaining about being short. And his mama said, well, son, you gonna grow. You're pretty tall for your age. He said, but you know what, Mom? I want to be, man size, 6 feet plus. And he said, well, son, you only 5'9". I turned around and, of course.
Oh, damn.
I turned around, and, all 5'8" and 3/4 0.75 of me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What? Like, fuck you, nigga.
That make you want to say some shit like that, yeah. That's funny, bro.
Yeah, man. So, as always, y'all, we are here, Three Kings Boxing. Always go to threekingboxing.com for the latest going on in the sport of boxing. Mama Denise first went in she was on there at 5'10". Man, Mama Denise.
That's what's up.
Man. Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much for being here. As always, I got my man Prodigy joining me, helping me out with this. Oh, man. What's going on, HNIC?
Ready to get it in, man, every day. That's what we do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is absolutely what we do. And by getting it in, let me just start off because, there have been complaints. Now, generally, complaints come in and we got this box. Well, I can't get it right now. It's outside. It's on the side of the house. It's called the garbage can. So we got these boxes that we put complaints in.
That's where they go, bro. Like, then when there's an email complaint, that shit goes straight to trash. That motherfucker, if we get it in the mail, it goes straight to the dumpster, man. Either way.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the trash can is overfilling, and I happened to look at one of the complaints. I said, all right, man. So here's what's going to happen, y'all. I figured out since motherfuckers have a hard time reading the part where we tell you, listener discretion is advised, right? I figured I'd tell you. On this show, there is no dick riding, jock riding, ball gurgling. There is no favorites. There's no... Nobody's paying us to say nothing, but we're going to speak our fucking truth, right? And we're going to spit facts. However you take it, that's up to you. What was you about to say?
Don't say nothing. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mama Denise said, I'm in these streets.
She's in these streets. Respect the OG.
That's right. That's right, man. Speaking of somebody in these streets, Tank Davis... I don't know if I should be happy or sad because once upon a time, he acted like this wasn't something he want. Now the motherfucker, he just talking like, yo, yeah, man, I got this. Now, let me say this. I have no problem with a champion publicly stating he'll beat anybody. I have no problem with that. What you're fucking supposed to do as a champion, right? Mm-hmm. So, Tank Davis was live. Go to threekingsboxing.com where you see it. Well, and I got to give him props. The WBA president, Gervonta Mendoza, he got straight to the fucking point.
Right.
He didn't bullshit, right? He asked Tank about fighting some of the top guys in the division, the Devin Haney's, the Ryan Garcias, and of course, Vasyl. Tank goes, we can make it happen. It can be all of them, to be honest. Not no specific fighter. It can be all of them. I'm willing to fight all of them. It's just that time span. It has to be the right time, right money-wise and things like that. But, I'm all for it. Then he went on and asked him flat out. He said, yo, man, you think you beat Vasyl Lomachenko? You think you can knock him out or you go the distance? He said, I see myself breaking him down probably around the 9th to 10th round. I see myself breaking him down. There's not too many people out there that can stand toe-to-toe with me, especially at 130, 135. I don't see nobody standing toe-to-toe. And Tank might be right, but Vasyl is not going to stand toe to toe.
Exactly. Bam. My major point. Exactly, bro. Exactly.
So it makes me wonder, dude, is the nigga watching tape?
Well, I mean, a lot of them don't. But yeah, I mean, we've talked to a lot of boxers, man, prospects, champions, contenders, etc., from all walks of the life of their career. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them have said, "Yeah, I don't watch tape. I don't really watch boxing." A couple of them saying, "I don't even like boxing. I just,
That's true.
I like to fight, but I don't like to watch the sport on television." And a lot of them don't do that, bro. A lot of them don't study their opponents. A lot of them don't do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? So if he's not watching tape, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
Now my thing is, as a former fighter, I'm like, bro, you should watch tape on whatever information you got on the opponent that you might see later on or that you're getting ready to see next. You need to watch as much information on them as possible so you can gather data. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, it's not a surprise to me if he doesn't watch tape. It'd be a stupid ass decision because Vasyl Lomachenko is a guy that can mix it up while he's in there with you. So you want to gather as much data as possible to prepare for a plan A, B, and C that he may try to execute against you. But at the end of the day, bro, it's not a surprise, man.
But here's the thing, though. Again, I don't have a problem with him saying what he said. I think I could beat him. Tank's like I might knock him out and stop him in the 10th round. Now, I will say this. I'm actually proud of Tank for even acknowledging this because once upon a time, Tank was trying to act like, hey, hey, man, I got all the time in the world to fight the dude, right? So I'm wondering what happened for Tank to be so vocal about Vasyl Lomachenko. Now, Ryan Garcia and all of them, we'll get into that. But when it came to Vasyl Lomachenko, he was showing no eagerness to make that fight. As a matter of fact, remember he made that tweet about can't rush greatness, baby.
Well, I mean, he's always said that he thinks he can beat Vasyl.
Okay.
That tweet about him, I can't rush greatness. He was just seconding his dad. I mean, his pimp. I mean, goddamn Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? So he was just seconding him. That's it, bro. He talking. Floyd probably came to him. Hey, man, I know you want to get this fight, but you can't fight him right now. We getting money fighting niggas nobody knows, bro. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Look, I did the pretty boy Floyd thing, and then I did the money Mayweather thing. I got us big through my career. So you just follow my lead. You going to do what I did the second part of my career. You ain't got to go through the gauntlet like I did. That's what Floyd and Leonard Ellaby are telling him. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you got that tweet. But prior to that, he was saying, yeah, man, I'll fuck Vasyl Lomachenko up. This ain't the first time he said this. This might be the first time I've heard him say that he stops Vasyl Lomachenko, but it ain't the first time that he said he thinks he'll beat him. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the thing is, though, at the end of the day, the formula that they have that they're executing in terms of basically pushing Tank's career, that's the Money Mayweather formula, dog. And that's what they're doing. And it's working for him. The motherfucker's got a whole bunch of people in Baltimore. He had a parade out in Baltimore. It was like 8 niggas there, but he had a parade. You know what I'm saying? There's like a Tank Davis Day there, bro. Some crazy shit, man. It's working for him. Now, worldwide, maybe not. But locally and within the United States, yeah, it's working for him, bro. On social media, it's working for him. Yeah. Now, here's the problem. I'm gonna go off of what you said. I'm gonna elaborate on that. This motherfucker talking about I'm gonna break him down. Not too many people can go toe to toe with me. Vasyl Lomachenko is not gonna go toe to toe, my nigga. He doesn't do that. It's not how he fights. He can mix it up when he's got you to a point where he's figured you out, right? He's a cerebral type of fighter. If he's figured you out, then he may go toe to toe with you. He may sit in the pocket with you and fuck around with you, but he's still moving around. Vasyl Lomachenko likes to keep people inside of a 3-pointed triangle with his footwork, right? It's called the triangle theory, but it's not the triangle theory of which you guys are thinking about, right? Typically, the triangle theory is, hey, fighter A, Fighter A beat fighter B so he could beat fighter C, even though fighter C beat fighter B. No, that's not what we're talking about. This triangle theory is when a fighter who doesn't have great footwork, like Tank Davis, for example, is facing a guy that can pivot in all three types of fucking angles around their opponent. And they're so quick with their pivots and their angles that they keep them inside of a fucking triangle. Manny Pacquiao is one of the other ones that does this shit very well. You see what I'm saying? Younger Manny Pacquiao was a master at this shit. You see what I'm saying? Vasyl Lomachenko is the guy that's doing it right now. He's probably the best in the sport that's able to do this, right? So he's not going to sit there and go toe-to-toe with Tank Davis as if, you know, the way that he made this prediction. Yeah, you know, I'll knock him out. I could break him down within 9 or 10 rounds because not a lot of guys can go toe-to-toe with me. Bro, you're already fucking up. If you're thinking that if you get in the ring with Vasyl Lomachenko and it's going to be a toe-to-toe, in-pocket fight in the middle of the ring with you and him standing directly in front of each other, both of y'all niggas on the center line, you lost already. You've already lost the fight. Vasyl Lomachenko is rarely on the center line, bro. And when he is, like I said, it's at the point where he's already figured you out, so he knows he can take certain risks in order to get you out of there. Vasyl Lomachenko doesn't seem like a guy that goes for the knockout, but he really does. Look at his fights. He doesn't seem like he's a guy that will go for the knockout, but he does. He's a cerebral guy, so he's reading his opponent. Once he's figured his opponent out, he goes for the knockout. That's what he does, man. You see what I'm saying? So in those moments at which he's trying to figure you out, he's not in the pocket like that. So how are you going to win those rounds when Vasyl Lomachenko is dancing all the fucking around you, bro? How are you going to win those rounds? You see what I'm saying? The problem with Tank Davis is this. Two things, Bo. First thing is he hasn't been fighting good competition. And I'll take a page out of your book. You always say, when a motherfucker doesn't fight great competition, he starts to fight down to his level of competition. And that's what we saw against Yuri Ortiz Gamboa, right? Terence Crawford is fighting bad competition. Hence, when he got in there with Ejidijas Kavaliauskas, he fought down to Ejidijas Kavaliauskas' level and ended up didn't he get dropped in that fight, but they didn't call it a knockdown or something? They didn't call it a knockdown,
but he definitely got kicked and was hurt.
Exactly. Definitely got knocked down. It should have been called a knockdown, and you're right. He was hurt. See, Terence Crawford, before fighting Jeff Horn and Jose Benavidez and Amir Khan, he would have fucked Ejidijas Kavaliauskas up, man. Right? Terence Crawford at 140 would have fucked him up, right? But he's been fighting down to a certain level of competition, so he's starting to make mistakes that he otherwise wouldn't have if he would have been fighting better opposition. Same thing with Tank, man. Jose Pedraza still remains to be the best win on his resume. When the fuck was that? You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't that 2 years ago?
Like three years ago. It might have been 2016, man. Because I know Pedraza fought Edner Cherry in 2015. And then he fought Steven Smith after that. So I think it was like 2016, 2017. So it was like 3-4 years ago, right? That still remains the best win on his fucking resume. And Jose Pedraza is not that great of a fighter, bro. He really isn't. He's okay. Yes, I know he's a 2-division champion, but he's okay, right? When he fought guys that were a level above him, he got obliterated. Vasyl Lomachenko and fucking Tank Davis. Of course, Tank obliterated him better, but he still got obliterated. I think he won like 2 rounds against Vasyl Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? So he's an okay fighter, but he still remains to be the only motherfucker on his resume that people really care about. Nobody cares about Liam Walsh. Nobody cares about Jesus Cuellar. Nobody cares about Hugo Ruiz. Nobody cares about Francisco Fonseca. And to be quite honest with you, at the stage at which he fought him, nobody cares about Yuri Ortiz Gamboa. So Jose Pedraza still remains 3-4 years later, whenever the fuck they fought, he still remains to be the best name on his resume, dog. And Tank is a 3-time champion if you count the WBA regular title as a fucking title. If you count that as a legitimate world title, he is a 3-time champion in 2 weight classes. So Tank, realistically, in my opinion, given the fucking opposition that he's faced, I don't trust him against a Vasyl Lomachenko, dog. I would need him to fight the other guys that they mentioned. If you want me to say Tank beats Vasyl, I need to see him beat a Devin Haney, a Ryan Garcia. Hell, even a Jorge Linares, for God fucking sakes. You know what I'm saying? Right? I need to see him beat somebody else, bruh. Then I can say, okay. He might be able to fuck with Vasyl Lomachenko. And I said before, there's a lot of fighters out there that you could look at them against B-level dudes, B-minus level dudes, C-level dudes, D-level dudes, etc. Right? And even though their opposition isn't that great, you can still see a lot of skill that they possess in that ring and be able to say he could still be a problem at a particular weight, right? Jerron Boots Ennis is one of those guys. Rashidi Ellis is one of those guys. Virgil Ortiz is one of those guys. Those are all three of those guys are welterweights, right? Chris Colbert is one of those guys, right? These are all prospects. Ryan Garcia is another guy that's like that, right? You look at what they're able to do against limited opposition, and you can basically make a decision or come to a conclusion and say, you know what? He could still be a problem against some of the top level guys. Tank does that for me, but I don't see him beating a lot of the top level guys yet because he is flat-footed at times. Against Yuriorkis Gamboa, he was still getting hit. He was getting hit with shots he shouldn't have been hit with. He was getting gassed in that fight. Tank has a fucking weight problem. Bro, his first fight at 135, this nigga was overweight. How the fuck do you move up in weight from a division which you were always overweight in? You move up so you can be in weight and you're still overweight. So he's basically he has a discipline problem. That's what that fucking means, right? And he's not taking things as serious as he should. All four of those things, nigga, there's no way he beats a guy like Vasyl Lomachenko right now. So I don't trust a guy that doesn't take it seriously, right? Obviously cares more about money than anything else, right? Boxing is a game where you got to care about your legacy if you want to be the best. You got to. Floyd Mayweather cared about his legacy. That's why he went through the gauntlet. He went through the gauntlet. He gave Oscar De La Hoya everything he wanted in order to get that fight. He gave Arturo Gatti, a guy that he's obviously better than before they got into the ring. He was obviously better than Arturo Gatti. But he knew Arturo Gatti was the A side, if you want to say that, right? So he gave Arturo Gatti what he wanted. He took less money. Shit, he let Top Rank ultimately rob him of $2 million in that fucking fight, man. He did what he had to do because he knew legacy first, money second. He knew that. And that's exactly what Floyd did. You see, these little dumb niggas of today, they don't think like that, bro. Tank is money first, bitches and money, hoes and cars. That's what they care about. Vasyl's not thinking like that, though, bro. Man, Tank gets his ass washed. Get out of here, man.
Here's the thing, and you touched upon something, which was discipline. That's a very key factor because here is a cold hard reality. When you're stepping in the ring with a guy like Vasyl Lomachenko, you have to be 100% disciplined both mentally and fucking physically.
Yep.
Right? For example, he fought Yuriorkis Gamboa. And I don't care what nobody says to me, and I don't care who gets offended by that. Gamboa was fucking done. All right? He was a washed Gamboa. It took you 12 rounds to get rid of a dude who had a fucked up Achilles. Why? Because you were so busy focused on your power. Like he just said, no one can stand toe-to-toe to me because you think my power along with my skill set, I got you. Vasyl Lomachenko is the type of dude you're going to need more than that.
Absolutely.
You don't believe me? Ask Jorge Linares how that worked out for him.
Ask Gary Russell.
Ask Gary Russell how that worked out for him. And Linares actually knocked the nigga down. Nigga got up, fucked up shoulder and all, and finished off.
Still got the knockout. Yep.
See what I'm saying? So for a cat like Vasyl Lomachenko, who ain't out there fur coats after fights, Lamborghinis, bitches, talking shit, he goes in the ring, fights, collects his check, and go the fuck home.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You know, Vasyl's like that dude, right? He like that dude who leave the house, who leave the wife and kids, grab the lunch pail and a hard hat.
Yeah, that's Vasyl, man. Listen, Vasyl could be every bit about his money. Like he could be going home. Yeah, man, you know, I don't really care about none of this shit. All I care about is these dollars, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Got all this shit, bro. He could be like that, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. You know what I'm saying? Because he's dedicated to his craft, right? There's no images or video of Vasyl Lomachenko looking fat as fuck in between fights.
Exactly.
Nothing like that, right? There's no imagery or videos of Vasyl Lomachenko doing other shit, while in training camp. None of that. You don't see none of that, dog. You don't see no problems with Vasyl Lomachenko. Like, a week before the fight, oh shit, something happened. Vasyl Lomachenko was hiding in the bushes outside a bitch apartment and shit. Now he got to go to court. None of that. You don't hear none of that about Vasyl Lomachenko, bro. But Tank, yeah, you get those here and there. You see Instagram videos of him having trouble, having arguments with his bitch. You see videos of him being extremely fat in between goddamn fights. Hell, we got a video on 3 Kings Boxing, the Facebook page right now. Nigga belly hanging over his goddamn shorts, man. You're telling me that guy beats Vasyl Lomachenko? A Vasyl Lomachenko who is fucking always ready? Are you kidding me? Vasyl needs to be like 40 years old before Tank beats him. Or Tank needs to start taking this shit seriously before he could beat him, man. Fuck out of here with that shit.
Well, here's the thing, though, and this is something else that I want to touch on. Now, look, I give Tank Davis credit because he is giving back to his community. He is doing these things for cats in his gym. He's putting people from his gym on. I'll give him that. I'll give that to him. But when it comes to that ring, think about this for a second. When you see videos of Vasyl Lomachenko hanging out with other people of the school of Lomachenko, what are they always doing? Training.
Yes, exactly.
When you see Tank, what is he doing with Broner? Creeping up behind the nigga.
Yeah, they basically damn near getting ready to kiss each other and shit, drinking that. I'm not gonna say I've seen Tank drink. I've never seen a drink in Tank's hand. Mm-hmm. I've seen him in clubs with other people that had drinks in their hands. So I'm not gonna say Tank is drinking, but he's out there partying and shit and doing other shit. The Adrian Broner crew, their mind is not on boxing, bro. Outside of, okay, we signed a contract. Now let's go to training camp. Those guys are not going to beat the motherfuckers who are always ready, bro. They're not. They're not, right, man.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? So, again, you're supposed to say what you're supposed to say. I'm glad he said it. I have respect for the fact that you fucking said it. I can fucking respect that. But right, here's the reality. What I have seen from you in the past and your habits does not tell me when Vasyl Lomachenko left the division because he couldn't get fights. He never left because the nigga couldn't make weight. That was never an issue for him. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
That never happened to him. You know what I'm saying? But I've never heard of a Vasyl Lomachenko at the weigh-in. I got to run a mile or whatever. I got to lose this half a pound or whatever the fuck it is, right? Never heard that.
Right. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not trusting a guy who's fluctuating in weight, has always got this out of the ring issues and shit. Man, I read something earlier. I didn't know Tank had got arrested with Floyd Mayweather's girlfriend once upon a time. I didn't even know that, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I'm looking for images and shit for a goddamn article, bro, and I run into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, the nigga was getting sued by a jeweler and shit because he didn't pay his goddamn jewelry bill. You know these niggas rent their jewels and shit, right? A lot of you fans is starstruck and shit, and y'all see the jewels on these niggas and they be like, man, that nigga got money hoes, he got everything. Nah, man, they be renting all that shit, bro. And the jeweler came out and said, yeah, this nigga didn't give me my money for that jewelry I let the nigga wear. You know what I'm saying? So he had that problem. I mean, he got all these out of the ring issues. He got an abusive girlfriend that whoops his ass and shit. You know, he's fat and shit in between fights, and he's got to literally go in seclusion into a 12-week training camp just to make weight, and then ends up not making weight at the end of the day. So, come on, dog. You're gonna trust that over somebody who's always ready and has better skill in the process? Yep. Stop, man. Stop being fanboys. Pay attention. All right. The reason why we're able to pick who we want to pick, regardless of who we might like, right, is because we're objective, nigga. Pay attention to what the fuck is going on. Pay attention to boxing. Pay attention to the styles in the ring. Learn how to break down a fucking fight, man. Then give me your prediction. But if you're a fanboy, I'm not interested in listening to you. I don't want to hear what you got to say.
Right. But at the end of the day, for me, the fact, and this is where Vasyl makes his biggest mistake. When he says no one can go toe-to-toe. Big mistake. When I heard that, I said, okay, problem.
Oh, yeah, immediately. Me too. Yeah.
When I heard that's okay, nigga. You're not winning. No way you win. If that's what you think, you're not fucking winning.
Exactly.
Okay? Because that tells me you do not know. You think that Vasyl Lomachenko, who turns your advantage into a disadvantage, he makes it a habit of doing that.
Right.
Ask any Rigo, Jorge Linares, and I'm talking, these were top level guys. You know, Anthony Croya, them niggas didn't have a chance to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Hell, even Luke Campbell, he used his advantage as to a disadvantage against him once he figured him out. So you're telling me a guy like that fights on that level, that constantly trains to prepare himself for that level, you're gonna beat a guy like that when you've never shown to be consistent on the level that you're on? No, bro. You're not getting my vote.
Not mine either, bro. I will put lots of
that night, but it wasn't last night, motherfucker.
Bro, I will put a lot of money on the opponent you're facing that night, bro. That fight is made. That's all I'm saying, bro. A lot of my money will be on your opponent, not you. It will be on your opponent. You know what I'm saying? Man, you got a fan up in here, man. Holla at him, dog. Is he here? Oh, is he in here? Where is he? Bo, are you here? Holla at him, dog. The nigga got the damn question marks and shit. Like, where is he?
I broke up with her a long time ago, man. I wish she's gonna get a new boyfriend. I don't know what the problem is, you know what I'm saying? But all right, find some new dick, girl. Find some new dick, girl.
Exactly, bro. Check this out, man. My man King Phillips said, "Will TMT feed Tank to that cat Rolly, whatever his name is?" You talking about Rolando Romero? Well, Rolando Romero. Nah, man, I don't see Tank fighting Rolly, bro. And it's not because Rolly will beat him. There's no reason for that. There's no reason for that fight, man. That'll be Tank going backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Tank is if you count the WBA regular title as a real world title, Tank is a 2-division champion and a 3-time champion. Rolly Romero ain't even fought for a title yet. So the Tank will be going backwards. Rolly would have to get into position to be Tank's mandatory or some shit. I mean, he can't be his mandatory right now. But whenever Tank gets a real world title, Rolly would have to get himself in position to be his fucking mandatory. I don't think that happens. And even if it does happen, I don't see TMT making that fight. So I don't think so, bro.
No, well, here's the thing about that too. Floyd Mayweather has made it very, very clear. The way he's building Tank Davis, if he's gonna put Tank in something that dangerous, it's gonna be for some bread on the line. Like I can see him just like right now, they doing Leo Santa Cruz. That's some serious bread, right? So they like that fight. Plus, they probably think he can win. Now, Leonard Ellaby is saying that Tank can make 130. I don't believe he can make it. Only reason why I like the move is because if he beats Leo Santa Cruz, it's legit. You didn't have a guy come up and beat him. You went down and you beat him. So you got to give him props there, right? But that's the very reason why I agree with you when you say he needs to fight the Devin Haney's. Like he needs to fight more. Like fighting Rolando don't do anything for him. He needs to fight more of the top tier guys. Hell, I would even take Robert Easton Jr. You know what I'm saying?
I like that fight. Yeah. I mean, they run in the same circle, but I don't think they're that close. I like Robert Easter Jr. versus Tank. That's a good fight. That's a good fight for Tank. I think Tank wins it, but it'd be a good fight for him. Now, here's the deal. If Robert Easter Jr. actually fights the way he should fight and utilizes all his goddamn reach, but we always say this. It's almost like Adrian Broner, right? Niggas be like, man, if Adrian Broner just took this shit seriously, he'll be one of the best in boxing. We say that, we use that, but in a different context with Robert Easter Jr. Man, if Robert Easter Jr. would just utilize his reach and stop sitting in the pocket, these niggas are never going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Robert Easter will always give up his reach, and Adrian Broner will never take it seriously. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, even though Robert Easter, if he just used his reach, he could probably beat Tank. He won't, and Tank would end up beating him. But that's a good fight, though. I like that fight for Tank, man.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the kind of guys I need to see you in there with, some of the top tier guys, before I'm even thinking about you and Lomachenko. You gotta show me discipline on at least 2 consistent fights before I'm even like, all right, okay, now we can talk.
Mm-hmm.
My man Yusef Malik, he says, why I think Vasyl breaks his will mentally and physically. Tank isn't dedicated to being in shape. His mind isn't all in when it comes to the ring. Exactly.
Absolutely not. Exactly. You know, I'm not, like I said before, I'm not going to trust a guy who basically is a part-time fighter, man, against a guy who's a fucking full-time fighter and has extravagant ass skill on top of having a full-time fighter's mentality. Man, stop, man. Stop it, bro. Stop it, bro. My man in the text, and he said, when fighters say they can beat anybody toe-to-toe, then in the next fight, they're the ones going back on the back foot against someone they didn't expect to. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, bro, whenever Vasyl Lomachenko figures Tank out, I can see Tank on his back foot because it's going to be too much volume. And Vasyl Lomachenko won't be standing there to be hit. Look at all of Tank. Look at Tank's, all of his opponents, man. Just look at all of them. All of them stood there for him or for them to be hit. They stood there. They gave Tank all the opportunities in the world. Hey, Tank, I'm right here, buddy. I'm not going anywhere. Angles, I don't do that. Lateral movement, nah, I don't do that. Even Jose Pedraza didn't fucking do it, man. Yep. And that's why I didn't like Jose Pedraza to begin with. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of niggas was like, man, that nigga Jose Pedraza nice. No. I told him, I said, bro, Pedraza lost to fucking Edner Cherry. Actually, Edner Cherry should have been the IBF champion that night, bro. Not Pedraza. He lost that fight, right? Even Stephen Smith, the second to the worst of the Smith brothers, it actually did well against Jose Pedraza. You see what I'm saying? Pedraza went into the goddamn Tank fight and did not move. Pedraza reminds me of Anselmo Moreno. Now, you know, everybody listening, you got to know boxing to know who I'm talking about. Anselmo Moreno was a bad motherfucker down at bantamweight. You know what I'm saying? Had whooped up on Vic Darchinyan. I thought that was going to be a bad motherfucker, man, right? But then what I started to see was that Anselmo Moreno does not fucking move, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, he has great upper body movement. He could shoulder roll and shit. And he could dodge your punches with his upper body movement. But his lower body movement is typically stagnant, bro. It doesn't fucking move. And that's why Abner Mares was able to tap that ass. You see what I'm saying? So Jose Pedraza is the same way. He has some pretty decent upper body movement, but the motherfucker doesn't move on the lower body, bro. He doesn't provide angles very well. He doesn't really move laterally that well. So Tank Davis was able to run him the fuck over. It was easy for Tank to do that. It was easy for Vasyl Lomachenko to keep him inside the fucking triangle because he doesn't move, right? Yep. Look at all the other Tank's opponents, Liam Walsh and all them bum-ass niggas. They don't move neither. Not enough, at least, to thwart a Tank Davis offensive arsenal that he has. No, they don't. But Vasyl Lomachenko absolutely does. So there's a fucking unknown there, right? There's an unknown there. Let me tell you something. Vasyl Lomachenko has fought guys on Tank's level. He has. Tank has not fought anyone on Vasyl's level. I'm not riding with Tank in this matchup. Fuck out of here.
My man Virtuoso said, when is the right time for Tank to face Lomachenko?
Now. Like we said. Now. Fuck it. You know why now? Let me say this, bro, real quick. I don't mean to take nothing from you, but I gotta say this shit, dog.
I want to hear this.
Right the fuck now. Why? Because he's a goddamn 3-time fucking champion, man. That's why. Now, if you want it, like what Tank said, Tank let the nigga win the IBF title and then say, yeah, basically we're gonna move him like a prospect. Like, he didn't say those words, but he was basically saying Tank is young. We don't gotta rush into big fights right now. You know. What we're doing right now, the path that we're taking his career, this is what we're doing right now, right? That sounds like you're moving a prospect. Tank ain't a prospect once he get a fucking belt. When you get a belt, now you are automatically expected to face the best, dog. Nobody wants to see you fighting has-beens and niggas on the come up that can't beat you. Nobody wants to see that. If you got a belt, they want to see you against other champions or the best contenders that division that you're campaigning in has to fucking offer, man. That's what they want to see. You see what I'm saying? And Floyd is over there talking about moving this nigga like a prospect, dog. Right? So with that rule in place, and that's not even my rule, man. All boxing fans expect that. Most boxing fans that know what the fuck they're talking about, if a champion has a belt, they want to see him against other champions or the best, the cream of the crop of the division, champion or not. So with that being said, since he's not only gotten one major title, he's gotten 2 major titles in his fucking career, right? And now he's a current regular champion of the WBA at 135. So he's a 3-time fucking champion, bro. With those accolades, fight him now. The time is now. You know what I'm saying? Now, based on his skill, yeah, he probably needs 2 or 3 other fights, in my opinion, against better competition because he hasn't been fighting good competition his whole career. So he needs better competition so that he could go through a level of adversity in his fight before he gets in there with one of the best fighters in the world, literally, arguably the best fighter in the world. So he needs at least 2 or 3 fights so he can go through some adversity before he jumps in the ring with him, right? But I'm not going to give him that because if you wanted him to have that, he should have never been a fucking champion. So fight him now. Right now is the fucking time.
You know, the funny thing about it is, and I was just finna say that if I'm his coach, I see what you listen from a boxing enthusiast mind frame. You're 100% right, dog. You're a 3-time champion. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Stop. You know what I'm saying? Stop the bullshit. If there's anybody else, we'd be saying the same fucking thing. You know, you're 3. Just like when people say, "Oh, Canelo was green when he fought Floyd." No, he wasn't, because he was about to fight Miguel Cotto, but Cotto lost to Trout. He was a champion, and then he fought Trout. So how the fuck was he? If all the moves he made, how the fuck was he green?
Exactly.
See what I'm saying? But yeah, I was just gonna say, if I'm his coach, I'm like what you're saying. Let's put you in there against, you know, like I said, Robert Easton Jr.'s, the Ryan Garcia's, the Haney's. Let's do that first before we think about that. But you're absolutely right. My man King Phillip, he said Tank can't beat no tier level fighter at 135 like Campbell, Haney, Garcia, Loma, Easter, Fortuna, Mikey, or Tio. Wasn't sniper out for a year when he fought Tank.
God damn. This motherfucker pulled out a roster of niggas he don't think Tank can beat. Damn, King. I don't know, man. Like, I could see Tank definitely beating Javier Fortuna. You know what I'm saying? That fight might even be a knockout. I could see him beating Robert Easter Jr. because Robert Easter Jr. gives up his height and his reach, right? Luke Campbell is going to be a good fight. But I see him beating Luke Campbell as well. But that's a good fight. You know what I'm saying? But Haney, Garcia, Loma, I don't know. I don't know about those guys. Right. I think Garcia is still a little too green, but the longer Garcia's fucking with Eddie Reynoso and Canelo right now. You know what I'm saying? I could tell you in his last fight, he's exhibiting something that you didn't see in his previous fights. What was that?
Left hook.
Counter punch. Counter punch.
Yep, hook counter punch. You're right. That's in it. Yep.
So Canelo and Eddie Reynoso got him on some shit already. As long as he's continuing to fuck with them, he's gonna be a problem, man. So it depends on where Tank catches Ryan Garcia, which would have to be like right now, but that's not gonna happen. Golden Boy's not gonna let that happen. So I don't know about that. Devin Haney, he's one of the more talented he's not a prospect, one of the more talented fighters in the sport, but he's not a pound for pound fighter because of his level of opposition. If he fought better level of opposition, then he could actually be a pound for pound fighter. He has that kind of talent, right? So I don't know if Tank beats him either. But those other guys, I could see him beating those guys, most definitely.
You think he beats Teofimo?
I think that's a good fight. And I can see, that's a good fight. Teofimo makes some mistakes, man. I'm gonna get an edge to Tank on that one, bro. Like split decision edge, bro, because of the mistakes that Teofimo makes. You know what I'm saying? think they're pushing Teofimo too fast, man. He needs another couple of fights. I don't think he should fight Vasyl Lomachenko next. I mean, I want to see the fight because of all the shit talking that took place. And Teofimo seems very sure of himself, which is exactly how you're supposed to think. But I really don't want to see him fight Vasyl just yet from a business standpoint. I think him defending his title a couple of times would help him, dog, if he did that. But against Tank, yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one, man. I'm up in the air on that one. I don't know.
Yeah. See, I was just going to say, for me, I'm up in the air. I would lean toward Teofimo only from this aspect, which is he be down there training with Terrence Crawford.
That's a good point.
So I would lean toward him because he's training with Terrence Crawford, who can actually fight lefty or southpaw, and he's one of the top pound for pound fighters that there is. So that type of sparring experience would do wonders for you. I don't give a fuck who you are, right? Devin Haney would be a good fight, but I think Haney would win because I think there's history between Tank and Haney, and Tank has shown me mental instability where he might fuck around and let his anger take over and not fight right. And Haney is a good enough fighter and smart enough to where he'll keep his composure and work the game plan. So, but yeah, I don't know. If you talk about Mikey, you say Mikey, talking about Mikey Garcia? No, Tank don't beat. Well, Mikey ain't going to 135.
Was it Mikey or Ryan Garcia? Which one was it? Thought it was Ryan Garcia. Oh, yeah, Mikey Garcia. That fight's not happening unless it's at between 140 and 147, which is ironic because Tank could easily make that fucking weight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Overweight at 135, dog. He could easily make 140 and 147. He could.
Yep.
You know, but yeah, I don't see that fight happening anytime soon, man.
Right.
Nah, not at all.
You know, the funny thing about it, I'm glad he ran down that roster is that's what makes this so interesting is there's a lot of fucking talent. 135 is loaded. Right?
Yeah.
So even if some of these guys don't fight now, they'll see each other at 140.
Yeah, I agree with that. To answer his question, yeah. Jose Pedraza was out fucking 9 months before he fought Tank Davis. And he had that unanimous decision win against Stephen Smith right before that.
All right, man. Let's move on. Oh, Floyd Money Mayweather.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man. What do we say, man? What do we say? All right, so you know, it was being put out there in the universe that Floyd was going to fight Brown on pay-per-view. Then, of course, you know, Floyd sent out, you know what I'm saying, his bitch. I mean,
yeah, that's right. Leonard, get your ass out there and tell these motherfuckers I'm not coming back, man. Hurry up, nigga.
Right? He'd be like, yeah, so Leonard, you know, so you heard him. Came out. He came out and he was like, no, man, absolutely why 100% that's not happening. And then Floyd himself also came back. But, you know, Floyd says things that can be interpreted in so many fucking ways. And it can kind of piss you off. But he goes, those are just rumors. I'm retired. I'm through with boxing and it don't hurt to stay in shape. Your body is your temple. You only get one body. So just in the gym trying to stay sharp, not for boxing, just for myself, training fighters, and, you know, just enjoying my life in this pandemic. Now, this is where it gets very fucking interesting with this nigga. That's what I'm saying, man. He leaves so much. It's almost like you want to slap the nigga. Say, nigga, just give me a fucking answer, nigga. He go, once again, I'll say it again. I'm not boxing, no boxer at all. None. I'm done. I'm retired. I love my life, and I love being retired. There's no number that is worth me getting back in that ring and fighting these young fighters to get any type of wear and tear on my body. So I'm going to fight any fighters as of right now. No, I'm retired. I'm retired for the sport of boxing. I'm training, having fun, and enjoying life. He said, I'm not fighting no boxers. But what if UFC come knocking and say, Floyd, we got another $50 million fight for you, man. Well, he already told us he ain't fighting no boxers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Will Floyd jump at that opportunity?
Well, I mean, you read the other article. You should have read the second one, where he actually says, if me and Conor McGregor do it again, it will be because of entertainment and business.
Yeah.
But in terms of coming back to fight a boxer, I'm not. I'm retired. So he specifically said in that particular quote that he would fight an MMA fighter for the right amount of money. You got to read between the lines. Also, in the quote that Bo wrote, he's specifically saying, I'm not fighting no boxer. Why would you say that? Just say, I'm not returning to the ring. You know what I'm saying? But he made it a point to say, boxer, I'm not fighting a boxer, because there's other fighters like MMA fighters and kickboxers, taekwondo, Muay Thai fighters, right? Those are the other types of fighters besides a boxer that he could be looking to mix it up with. And another one of those goddamn special rules exhibitions that he recently had with Tenshin Nasukawa a year or two ago. You see what I'm saying? So there's a possibility that he could fight exhibitions, and he left that door open for y'all to understand. He's not going to come back to boxing and fight Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. That's basically what he's saying. Don't expect him to fight Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford or Keith Thurman or Sean Porter. None of that shit's going to happen. But he will fight Tenshin Nasukawa, Conor McGregor, somebody of that magnitude in a special rules boxing exhibition. That can happen. That's what he's saying to you. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether you like that type of shit or not, that's either good news or bad news. But at the end of the day, that's what the fuck he's saying. There's no amount of money that you could pay me to fight Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford. But there is an amount of money that you could give me to do a rematch with Conor McGregor, because it's business and entertainment.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people were mad, Bo, because when I shared this post in several groups, motherfuckers was, oh man, this motherfucker's a bitch. You know, if you're never gonna come back, then why would you even ask for the attention? And they're showing posts to his Instagram where he, I think early last year, is a photo of him with his shirt off and he's looking down, and then the caption said, I'm coming out of retirement in 2020. And then there's articles of him saying that he's coming back in 2020, and they're mad. He did this shit. He's looking for the attention. That's why motherfuckers are thinking he's coming back. And only for him to come back and say, oh, I'm not going to fight no boxer. Man, you're just looking for attention. Him saying he's coming out of retirement doesn't necessarily mean he's coming out of retirement to go back to boxing.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean he's coming out of retirement to get back in a boxing ring and fight credible opponents. The last time he came out of retirement, he fought Tenshin Nasukawa. The time before that he came out of retirement, he fought Conor McGregor. You know what I'm saying? Don't expect him to come out and fight Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford just because he makes that post on his Instagram. Just expect him to make another exhibition. Hell, even when he was talking about late last year, fighting Manny Pacquiao in fucking Saudi Arabia. Remember that?
Yeah.
He had a fucking video. Yeah, I'm in Saudi Arabia right now. We talking about a possible Manny Pacquiao rematch. What happened to that? That shit just dissipated, nigga, in the thin air. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, bro, don't expect him to come back into the boxing ring and fight a credible opponent when he says he's coming out of retirement. No, expect him to fight another fucking exhibition. That's what he's going to do.
Here's the thing I think everybody got to understand, man. Whether you want to say he seeks attention, whether you want to say whatever you want to say, right? Floyd still moves the fucking needle.
Sure does.
That's it. Once y'all understand that.
Even in
Once
retirement.
y'all understand. Go ahead, what did you say?
Even in retirement, he does.
Thank you. Once y'all understand, when it comes to them checks, when it comes to that Vegas betting machine, Floyd moves the fucking needle. And as long as you are the dude that can move the needle, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can tease the fans 5 times a day if you fucking want to. Hell, you can actually take a picture with you in some boxing gloves, stand next to Manny Pacquiao with boxing gloves. Do whatever the fuck you want. Because why? I move the needle. I'll guarantee you right now, all of y'all that's saying this, if Floyd Mayweather was to say, you know what, fuck it, I changed my mind. I'll fight one of these boxers. Y'all tell me who it is. Everybody from Wayne Maniotan to Tyson Fury, shit stops. Until Floyd pick who he wants to fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
From 105 to heavyweight, shit gonna stop.
Right. Yeah, it does. It does.
I'm gonna give somebody a chance. I just don't know who yet.
Right.
See, because he moved the needle. And at the end of the day, Floyd has always been a businessman. It's always been about business for Floyd. Yeah, Floyd, think about, hold on. Look at his traits that he goes through as a fighter. What he says, hard work, dedication. That's entrepreneurship motherfucking mentality right there. Work all motherfucking day long. Don't take no fucking days off. Grind harder than the next motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
See? That's actually what my man over at HNIC does at Three Kings Boxing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for me, I'm not upset. I don't get upset about Floyd Mayweather because he knows it's still a number of people out there that Sugar Ray Leonard did the same fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
He came back, Marvin Hagler. Remember, he stood on the sideline at I'll never forget this, at the Hagler fight when he was on, I think it was Hagler Hearns. He was on the sideline. The camera zoomed in. They were like, "What did Sugar Ray say?" He said, "I think I can beat him." I'm like, they weren't even showing Hagler. They went straight to Sugar. What did he say? I think I can beat him. This is a nigga in the stands. This was a nigga in the stands, dog.
Right, right.
Okay. Same thing when he fought Hector Macho Camacho. I think he fought Terry Norris. So it's guys that Muhammad Ali the same way. 40 years old, made a return. Everything fucking stopped. When he fought Larry Holmes, everything fucking stopped. Right?
Instant title shot. Instant title shot, by the way.
Oh, very good point, dog.
Nigga had an instant title shot. Nigga walked back into the sport. Hey, fuck all y'all mandatories and shit, man. Title shot. You know what I'm saying? So that is really moving the needle right there.
No shit. And that's the shit Floyd can do. Instant title shot from 105 to heavyweight, instant title shot. So for me, at the end of the day, man, y'all got to understand, Floyd knows what his power is. And if motherfuckers in MMA, because they also know Floyd has got a taste of that. They know over in MMA, he can draw. And we put Floyd over here, he'll draw for us. You think Dana White wasn't smiling when that motherfucking $100-something million shit went past him? Dana White was smiling ear to fucking ear. Dana White probably can't stand Floyd. Oh, but Dana White cashed that Floyd Mayweather check.
He's mentioned that several times before. When Floyd was so active, he's mentioned he didn't like Floyd Mayweather. So yeah, that's not a secret.
Right. Because that's what businessmen do. Businessmen cannot like you at all. But if you making them motherfucking money, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Okay. I know for a fact that at Bo's job, certain motherfuckers don't like Bo. Don't like him at all. Bo gets his numbers though. So when Bo decided to wake up, hey man, I'm not coming in there. No problem, man. What you want to take a vacation day off?
Right.
That's what Bo gets. See, because I get results. So at the end of the day, man, y'all stop being mad about Floyd Mayweather. Stop hating on him. He knows what he's doing. There is always a plan. He'll do this once or twice, and I guarantee you something gonna pop up. There is always a fucking plan, man. And speaking of plans, we got a couple minutes, man. Let's talk about the plan that a lot of these fighters have to model the Floyd Mayweather's blueprint without actually having to go through the gauntlet and fighting the fighters that had the accolades that Floyd beat. A lot of these fighters think by being undefeated, oh, that's the blueprint to stay undefeated, man. How wrong do they have this?
What do you mean? How long do they have it? What is it? What is that?
How wrong are they? How wrong are they about this?
How wrong are they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's common sense. They're absolutely wrong because what's happening is they're not making the right fights because of it. I mean, it just depends, man. It depends on the perspective at which you're trying to speak on it. If you're talking from a business perspective, they're right because boxing is paying niggas today. You see what I'm saying? Look at Demetrius Andrade. Look at the money he's making fighting Luke Keeler and Masage Selecki, Artur Akavov, and Walter Katandakwa. You know what I'm saying? He's making super money. That's why he's not even mad that Eddie Hearn can't deliver Gennady Golovkin or Canelo Alvarez like he said he would be able to. He can't deliver it. And he's not even mad. He's like, fuck it, I'll still sign an extra, I think, what is it, a 4-fight extension? It might have even been a multi-year extension. I can't remember.
Yeah, he signed it, and it was a good extension for him.
It was a good extension for him. That's why he's doing that, right? You know, look at Danny Garcia. Now, Danny Garcia fought, you know, Amir Khan. He fought Lamont Peterson. You know, he's got some names on his resume: Zab Jude, Eric Morales, sure, right? Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, sure. But in between all that, remember, I'll never forget this fucking quote. His dad told us the blueprint that they're actually following at that time. And that was, why would we fight a Keith Thurman when we can fight a Rod Salka and still make $1 million? That's what he said. Now, of course, after that, they went on and fought Keith Thurman some fights down the line. But that was because they were at 147. They really didn't have a fucking choice. The fucking
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? There's no way you're going to sit at 147 and not fight anybody. Hell, even Manny Pacquiao had to fight Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? There's no way you're going to sit at 147 and not fight anyone, dog. So they didn't have a fucking choice. But if they would have stuck around at 140, they could have cherry-picked the rest of their goddamn career if they wanted to. You see what I'm saying? So kudos to him moving up to 147 and taking those fights. I will give him respect for that. But at the end of the day, his dad came out with, it's his dad that basically dug his grave for him. His dad talks too fucking much and mentioned the blueprint at which they were following at that time. You see? So it's a bunch of fighters. Look what they're doing with Ryan Garcia, right? Golden Boy. Look what they're doing with Canelo. A lot of niggas might get mad about that. Canelo should have been fought Demetrius Andrade, man. He should have been fought. Instead of giving his belt to Jamal Charlo, he should have made Jamal Charlo take it from him, dog. Right? You know, Canelo moved up to 168 and didn't take on the WBA super champion and Callum Smith. He took on the regular champion and fucking Rocky Fielding. Right? Canelo didn't go up to 175 and allow Sergey Kovalev the right amount of rest after taking a fight at which he almost got knocked out in and fighting his mandatory in Anthony Yarde. He didn't give him the proper amount of rest and say, hey, man, I understand you almost got knocked the fuck out, but you landed a jab and ended up knocking him out. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what happened. So I'll give you, you know, y'all fought in, I think they fought in August. We'll just use that date. Y'all fought in August. You know, we'll talk about May, a May date. Give you the proper amount of rest. You get a 12-week training camp on top of your proper amount of rest, and there'll be no excuses when I tap that ass. You see what I'm saying? No, the nigga said, hey, man, you got 2 months. What, you talking about like 2 months of training camp, and then we'll talk about a date? He's like, no, nigga, 2 months before our fight date, nigga. 2 months before fight night. Like at first, Kovalev and Kathy Duval were like, man, hell no, that's not enough time. They were saying that. But then at the end of the day, right, they said, you know what? Fuck it. Too much money on the table. Kovalev, you got legal fees that you got to pay. Fuck it. Take the fight. And that's what they did. Now Kovalev's out here in these streets.
In these goddamn streets.
Crying, moaning, and bitching and complaining, talking about he had been had. You know what I'm saying? I took the fight too early. They got me at the wrong time. Bro, that was your decision. You signed on the dotted line. I don't want to hear that shit now. You see what I'm saying? But that's the type of shit Canelo is doing. He didn't even look at Artur Beterbiev after defeating Sergey Kovalev. Beterbiev is the unified champion. He didn't even look at him. He didn't look at Dmitry Bivol. He said, drop the belt. Thanks, Kovalev, but I'm going to drop it now. Don't need it. Went back down, said, I'm going to stick around at 168, and has been trying to get Billy Joe Sanders, and then tried to do the same thing he did to Kovalev to Caleb Plant. Nah, man, 2 months from February when Caleb Plant beat Finger Butt. He beat him. Then he said, nah, man, you got 2 months until our fight date. And Caleb Plant was smarter than Kovalev, said, nah, man, that's not enough time. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they're doing with Canelo, dog. So in a situation where, let's say this was the 80s, right? Canelo would have made Jamal Charlo fight him he was sitting there as the fucking interim champion the entire time he moved up to, I think he beat Hugo Centeno and became the interim champion. I mean, he was interim champion for like a year or 2 years.
Yeah, he was interim champion when Golovkin had the belt.
Okay, so Charlo would have basically gotten that fight. WBC would have mandated it. They wouldn't have created no goddamn franchise title to avoid mandating that fight, right? This is the 80s we're talking about. Canelo would have solidified his legacy after defeating Jamal Charlo. He already still has 3 belts. There's another one left. He would have solidified his legacy, became an undisputed fucking champion, and defeated Demetrius Andrade right after that, took his belt. He would have done that. But instead, no, they decided to go get Kovalev's WBO belt instead of the WBO belt in the division in which you already had 3 belts. Make that make sense. Undisputed champion is better than 3-division champion, in my opinion. It is, especially when you look at how he became he's a 4-division champion if you count the regular title. But it's better than 4-division champion with an asterisk on it because there's a regular champion title involved in that 4-division champion accolade. So, in my opinion, him beating Demetrius Andrade and becoming undisputed is way better than him fighting Sergey Kovalev and taking his WBO title. It is. The last undisputed champion at 154 was Winky Wright, bro, I believe.
Yep.
I'm sorry, at 160. I'm sorry, not 154. 160 was Jermaine Taylor.
Yeah,
154 was Winky Wright, but 160 was Jermaine Taylor, right? Yep. So he would have been the next undisputed champion at 160 since Jermaine Taylor. It doesn't get no better than undisputed. That is the top accolade, man, that you can get in boxing. It's the top one. So let me read this, Bo, before you go in. He said, Troy Graham said again, who is Charlo? What has he done to make Canelo come to fight him? No fan base, no accomplishments, hence no interest. He was He was sitting in a mandatory position, a position in which he should have been mandated. Let's just say that. So who was Sergey Lipinets? Whenever everybody was crying, saying that Terrence Crawford shouldn't get the fight with what's his fucking name? The nigga he became undisputed with against.
The dude from I can't remember. I know you're talking about the guy that Regis Prograis fought him and shit. Oh, what was his name?
Yeah, I can't think of his name. But he had the IBF and the WBA title, right? And everybody was crying. No, Terrence Crawford shouldn't get that fight. No, fuck that. Let Sergey Lipinets fight for it. Well, who the fuck was Sergey Lipinets? Right? When Sergey Derevyanchenko was Gennady Golovkin's mandatory, and everybody was crying that Gennady Golovkin didn't fight Sergey Derevyanchenko, well, who the fuck was he? Who was Sergey Derevyanchenko at that time? Julius Ndongo's his name, just came to me.
That's it, you're right.
So who the fuck was Sergey Derevyanchenko? Jamal Charlo is a bigger name sitting in a position at which he should have been fighting for a title than Sergey Lipinets was and then Sergey Derevyanchenko was, man. So why is it okay for them to get the title shot but not Jamal Charlo? Because it's Canelo? That's bullshit. He should have got the title shot. But instead, the WBC said, you know what? You know what? Franchise champion. That's what they did.
Yep.
Troy, look, let me get this one. Let me get this one before I go to it.
Because I'm going to come back to it. I got more to add.
Yeah. Let me get this one, and then I'm going to let you have it. He said White was sitting in a mandatory position and still is for 3 years. He has defeated better competition than Charlo. Here's where I'm going to get you, dog. Dillian White was not mandated as a mandatory until he beat Oscar Rivas. He was the #1 contender. Dominic Breazeale beat Carlos Negron. The WBC then said, we will make Dominic Breazeale the mandatory. Even though Dominic Breazeale was sitting at the, I think, #3 or #4 spot in the WBC. That's when the WBC made that decision. Now, they never mandated that Dominic Breazeale fight Deontay Wilder until last year, right? Was that last year, Bo? When he beat, until last year. But when he beat Carlos Negron, the WBC came out and said Dominic Breazeale and Dillian White can fight for that mandatory position. They never fought. Then the WBC said, you know what? We're going to make Dominic Breazeale the mandatory. Dillian White, and I agree, he should have been mandated. Dillian White should have been Deontay Wilder's mandatory. Hands down 100%. He's sitting at the #1 position. They should have made him the mandatory. I agree with that. But he was never mandated, dog. No, he was not. No, he was not. Troy Graham. He did not become the mandatory until he beat Oscar Rivas. I'm in the media. I know. And then they billed the fight as the interim WBC heavyweight championship. And then they said when he beat Oscar Rivas, go look at that fight. It's on DAZN. If you got DAZN, it should be on there. They announced after the decision was announced that Dillian Whyte is now the mandatory for Deontay Wilder. Dominic Breazeale was named the mandatory before Dillian Whyte was, bro. And that's how Deontay Wilder ended up fighting Dominic Breazeale, man. Come on, bro. Stop. Don't come in here with false facts. You're going to get got, bro. Go ahead, bro.
He said, okay, I'm going to go to this one. What has Charlo accomplished to get Canelo's attention? Charlo was a former champion at 154 pounds, but I'll flip this on you. What did Rocky Fielding, the WBA regular champion, do to get Canelo's attention?
Right. Nothing.
Because Charlo beating Julian J. Roy Williams at that time was bigger than anybody motherfucking Rocky Fielding ever beat. Matter of fact, Fielding had already lost to the fucking super champion.
Exactly.
See? So what did Rocky Fielding do to get Canelo's attention over fucking Charlo, who was a former champion at 154 pounds? Then you said, when it came to Kovalev, you said no other lightweight is worth fighting. Vasyl who was a unified champion, along with my man, Dmitry Bivol. They were, Kovalev was washed. He was done. We all know that. Later Alvarez had knocked him out. He did win the rematch, but like we just said, he barely beat Anthony Yarde. He was the weakest link at light heavyweight. Mm-hmm. So when you say no other light heavyweight worth fighting, what about Artur Beterbiev, who was the unified fucking champion? What about Dmitry Bivol, who's the WBA super champion? All right. See what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I'm just saying, man, the bottom line was he's in a mandatory position. So if we take this approach when people are in mandatory positions, then how the fuck are we ever to have fights? You have a young, undefeated, young, hungry lion sitting right there for you to fight.
Check this out.
You don't fight him, but it's okay to fight a dude that did absolutely nothing, a weight division above you, and Rocky Fielding.
Right.
No, I can't go with that, player.
Check this out. He said the Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Brown fight was a title eliminator. He's right. But just because you're in a title eliminator, that does not make you the mandatory, Troy Graham. I give you an example. Gerald Washington versus Charles Martin. That fight was for an IBF eliminator. But Charles Martin is not the mandatory. It's Kubrat Pulev. So your point just got dismissed and killed at that moment right now, bro. Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Brown was a fucking title eliminator, but Dillian Whyte was not the mandatory. Just like Charles Martin just beating Gerald Washington was an IBF eliminator, but he's not the IBF mandatory. It's Kubrat Pulev. Second thing he said is facts can't be false. Exactly. That's why that's basically me saying your statement is bullshit. That's what that means.
He said again,
boy.
How he can't get fights made. Well, you know, it takes two to tango. That's like if your dick is hard, you got to have some pussy to put it in, right? So it takes two to tango.
Look.
It takes two to tango, right? But he could have got the fight when the WBC had him sitting there as mandatory. But instead, they made Canelo what? The franchise champion.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, I understand why you don't look at Charlo. It ain't got nothing to do with him. I think he beats Charlo. But Charlo's not part. We've said this before. Charlo want that fight. He got to take his ass to the zone.
Yep.
Why would I give him that fight? I'm not even giving the motherfucker to Andre. So why would I get that fight? This motherfucker, he's not part of the zone.
Exactly.
Okay. Exactly. But I'm just saying, you're talking about all this. It takes two to tango, homie. At the end of the day, you can lay in bed with a hard dick all day. If don't know brawl come and bounce on that motherfucker, it's use your hand time. It's fine.
Exactly. At the end of the day, like you know, King Philip said that Charlo don't want to fight Canelo. To an extent, I do believe that. Shit, a couple of podcasts ago, a couple of shows ago, I was killing Jamal Charlo because I said he's content and not wanting to fight bigger names, and he's content and fighting Brandon Adams and fucking the cat from Australia. I can't think of his fucking name right now, bro. But you know,
Keeler.
No, that was Andre. Jamal Charlo.
I
can't think of his name right now. It doesn't fucking matter. Point is, he's okay with fighting those dudes. You see what I'm saying? So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that statement. Charlo doesn't want to fight Canelo. I'm fine with that statement. But at the end of the day, Canelo's not pushing for it. That whole situation where they talked about they offered him a contract, I don't believe that not one bit. Why? Because the circumstances, they basically said they gave the contract to Charlo. Since when the fuck do they do that? Contracts are done between managers and promoters. They're not given to the fighter. The manager and the promoter talk the contracts. Then they get back with the fighter with the information at which they were able to negotiate. And the fighter says yes or no. And in some situations, the fighter will say, no, thank you, Dennis. Dennis Hogan, exactly. Good shit. He put, his name is Dennis, then he put Hogan underneath. Good shit. But exactly, bro. Like, they're going to go to the fighter. This is what we got. Fighter's going to say yes or no. In situations where he says no, they're going to try to talk him into it. Well, I think you should take the contract because of this. That's how the shit works. Promoters don't go to the fighter. Hey, here you go. They don't do that, bro. So the whole situation in which they said they offered him a contract, I don't believe it not one bit, because they're talking to the fans and they know the media is going to pick up on it. But the media pretty much stays hush-mouthed on shit. Three Kings, we don't. We say it. We tell y'all, hey, this is bullshit, man. They're lying to you. The media doesn't do that. The rest of the media doesn't do that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But at the end of the day, dog, Canelo did not push for that fight. Just like he's not pushing for Andrade. And let me tell you an example. Let me tell you an example of how Canelo can push for a fight. That motherfucker pushed his ass off for Erislandy Lara. When he beat Alfredo Angulo and Oscar De La Hoya was trying to get James Kirkland next, which they ended up getting James Kirkland after Lara, but they wanted James Kirkland right after Alfredo Angulo. And they were trying to make that pay-per-view. And Erislandy Lara came in the post-fight press conference talking shit. And Canelo basically was like, man, sit the fuck down, man. Get away from me, right? And the Mexican fan base was like, hey, man, you going to let this motherfucker disrespect you like that? And Canelo heard all those Mexican fans saying, you know what? Canelo's a bitch. He just let Erislandy Lara intercept his press conference and walk up in there and talk shit. And Canelo ain't even trying to fight the dude. Canelo went straight to Oscar De La Hoya and said, hey, man, make that fight. De La Hoya's like, no, I'm trying to get you James Kirkland. This is an easy fight. James Kirkland's been out of the ring 2 years, man. And we're trying to make this pay-per-view. I could get you James Kirkland. You're going to easily knock him the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Then we can move up and wait. He was like, nah, I want Erislandy Lara and I want him now. And he got Erislandy Lara. So the same way that he could have pushed, he was pushing for Erislandy Lara, he could have pushed that way for Demetrius Andrade and Jamal Charlo. He did not. Mm-hmm. And both of those guys were in position in the same manner as Dillian White is right now for for Tyson Fury now, right? And has been over 3 years. In the same way that fucking Sergey Lipinets was for Julius Ndongo, right? And in the same way Sergey Derevyanchenko was for Gennady Golovkin and ended up fighting Daniel Jacobs for the vacant title. They're both, shit, Charlo was in the same position. Hell, Demetrius Andrade was above that. He was a fucking title holder, still is. What the fuck? So it is what it is, man. Troy, no matter what you say, you're not right. Charlo is a name. Name the top fighters at 160 without Charlo's name being involved. You can't do it. Go 1 through 5. Name the top fighters at 160. 1 through 5. And keep Charlo's name out of it. You cannot do it. So with that being said, he's a top fighter in the division. What do you mean? These dudes kill me, bro.
Hold on, man. Let me get this one. My man Freddie Steele said Charlo won't fight Andrade. Oh, hell yeah. Listen.
I agree with that.
We have always said that.
Yep, I agree with that.
When Boo Boo Andrade fucked up the paper, didn't do the paperwork right for the Charlo fight, them niggas never looked back at his ass ever the fuck again.
No.
Okay.
Well, it was Jermell. It was Jermell that was supposed to fight Demetrius. Yeah, right. Of course, right? Because Jermell is actually trying to fight motherfuckers. But go ahead.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So hell yeah, I'm not gonna argue with you about that. I know that. I know that for a fact. No, dog. No. He'll tell us that, but he's not trying to make that fight. So All right, man. I'm not gonna argue with this dude no more because the bottom line is you haven't answered me this. What did Rocky Fielding bring to the table more than Charlo? At the end of the day, what benefit fighting Rocky Fielding did for Canelo? At the end of the day.
Well, he's got a lot of questions to answer. He's got to answer that one. And I also want him to answer what top 5 fighters at 160 are better than Jermall Charlo.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, man, at the end of the day, you looking bad out here because when he fought Rocky Fielding for the WBA regular title, there's nothing about Rocky Fielding that's over Charlo at all. Former undefeated fighter, former world motherfucking champion. Those accolades you can't take away from nobody.
Right.
When you move up as an undefeated champion, Oscar Valdez was undefeated 126. He moved up. He's the #1 contender right now for Miguel fucking Berchelt. So, so basically, what if I take your theory? I could say, what did Oscar Valdez do to deserve a Berchelt fight? Right. No.
Oh, and it's in the wrong division too, by the way. To add on to that, Oscar Valdez was the WBO featherweight champion. This motherfucker moved up to 135 and became the #1 contender in the WBC. That's the wrong organization. That's not even the right organization. So, like I said, man, he said Charlo is a name in the division, not in the mainstream. Rocky Fielding wasn't even a name in the mainstream or his division, and he still fought him.
Rocky Fielding wasn't even a name on a domestic level.
No, he was not. He beat fucking Tyrone Zouge, and that's the biggest win of his career. Tyrone Zouge is the biggest win of Rocky Fielding's career. But you doesn't matter if you're asking what Rocky Fielding did. You're saying Jermall Charlo hasn't done anything to warrant a Canelo fight, and we're saying neither did Rocky Fielding, nigga. That's what we're saying. We're saying Canelo picks and chooses who he wants to fight. That's what we're saying. Charlo is not, in my opinion, right? I don't think Charlo beats Canelo. Let me say that, right?
No, I don't think he does either.
I don't think Charlo beats Canelo, but Charlo is a problem for Canelo, and they know this. So they're not right. So the point is, Troy, and I'm only gonna say this one more time, and after this, I don't like motherfuckers that don't understand logic. You're gonna get blocked. Here's the problem: if you don't understand after this, you're getting blocked. The reason why we're mentioning Rocky Fielding is this, bro. Your point of an argument is that Jermall Charlo does not warrant a fight. He has no accomplishments, as you just put in your last comment. He doesn't put asses in the seats. That's what you said about Jermall Charlo. But are you telling me a guy that Canelo did fight and Rocky Fielding does all of those things that you're saying Jermall Charlo doesn't bring to the table? Are you saying that? Because if I go ask a random boxing fan out there, I say, whose name is bigger, Jermall Charlo or Rocky Fielding? I guarantee you 99.9% of the people out there are going to say Jermall Charlo. So your point about Jermall Charlo not warranting a fight, or not, he shouldn't get a fight because he doesn't put asses in the seats and he has no accomplishments, it's null and void, because Rocky Fielding would be in the same boat and he got the fight, man. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you're getting blocked. Plain and simple. I can't stand niggas that have agendas. Like, because listen, when people say something to us, we understand where you're coming from and we'll take it in consideration. But if we're completely 100% logical about what's being said and you still don't want to get the fuck out of here, man. I don't have time for that.
But he keeps saying his compliment. Charlo's a former world fucking champion.
Yeah.
That's what you're not getting. He's the former world champion at 154. He moved up from 154 to 160. Demetrius Andrade, former world champion at 154. He gets a world title fight at 160. That's like, how is that not in boxing? If you're a former world champion and you move up, you get placed higher. I don't know how that's not clicking with you. Rocky Fielding isn't a former fucking nothing.
Right.
Whatever, man.
Right.
And the fucked up part is I don't even like Charlo like that.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like you're so busy trying to. We mentioned Andre. You ain't saying about Andre. So obviously you got something against Charlo. So we even talked Andre.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man, but whatever. It is what it is, man.
It is what it is, man.
At the end of the fucking day, right? At the end of the fucking day, if you are a number one contender and you're in that position for a fight, I don't see. This is the reason why Canelo can do what he can do, because of motherfuckers like that. Well, what did he do to deserve this? What did he do to deserve that?
Exactly. Like you can't talk to me about accomplishments and then omit Rocky Fielding. Like he didn't even want to talk about Rocky Fielding. He didn't even want to talk about it. Like it took like the Rocky Fielding fight never took place. You know what I'm saying? Like it never took fucking place, bro. Like Rocky Fielding actually beat Callum Smith or somebody. Like Rocky Fielding is a former world champion, not WBA regular. He's a former WBC, WBO, IBF, or WBA super title holder. Like he had all these accolades that Jamal Charlo didn't have. What the fuck, nigga? Like you're gone. Get the fuck out of here. Get out. I don't have time for that shit, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like that's why, to a certain degree, I love the sport. I just hate the type of fans this fucking sport produce. Okay, that's the thing. I fucking love boxing. I hate the fucking fans this goddamn sport produce, because instead of being logical, you want to push an agenda. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, right? Everybody will fight themselves into position. I can name 100 motherfuckers and say, what if he done? What if he done? What if he done? But you know what makes it great? When you make the fucking fight and motherfuckers fight. I could have asked, what the fuck is Sergey Derevyanchenko done to deserve Gennady Golovkin? He actually lost to Daniel Jacobs, but it was a hell of a fight, was it not?
A hell of a fight.
You know, how the fuck did we get history? I could have said, what the fuck did Buster Douglas do to deserve Mike Tyson? He made fucking history when they made the fight, right? Mm-hmm. God damn, man. I don't
like I said, it's dudes that got an agenda. You know, he don't like Charlo, which is fine. I don't care if I don't really like Tank Davis. But you know how I can keep it down the middle with Tank Davis? He's a top level fighter with top level skill. It's easy to do that. Like it's easy to not necessarily like the character of somebody, but still give them credit where credit is due. That's very simple to do. You know what I'm saying? You may not like Jamal Charlo. Hell, I don't even like Jamal Charlo that much.
And you from Texas.
Right. I don't even like him that much.
I respect it's New York. Which one?
Oh, yeah, right. It's New York, right? Because I got New York hat on. I respect Jermell Charlo. I lived in New York, by the way, before, but I'm from Texas. But anyway, I respect Jermell more than I respect Jamal. But at the end of the day, I know Jamal is a top fighter at 160. He is. Okay? Jamal has a better chance of making the pound-for-pound list than Rocky fucking Fielding. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If we had if pound for pound was like fight night and shit, remember pound for pound had like 300 people on it? I'm fighting round 4 and fight night champion. You can look at the pound for pound list and you can see yourself moving up. You'd be like in the beginning stage of your career, you'd be like ranked number 320 and shit. If a pound for pound list was really like that, Jamal Charlo would be ahead of Rocky Fielding. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're telling me that Jamal doesn't deserve the fight, but Rocky does? Because that's what he's saying. That's why he didn't want to talk about Rocky.
No.
So you can hate the guy. It's fine to hate him. It's fine to hate the guy, bro. That's your prerogative. But be straight down the middle when logics and facts are being thrown at you, bro. I don't fuck around with niggas that have an agenda because they hate somebody. You get blocked for that. I don't give a fuck how many people are here. You get blocked. Go ahead, bro.
Let me read this right here. King Philip made a good comment. Low key, none of these fighters did nothing in boxing. Charlo, Andrade, Billy, Jacob, they all cowards to fight each other. Fuck 160. You know, here's the thing about that. Daniel Jacobs, he did fight Peter Quillen, who was a former world champion. He did want to fight Gennady Golovkin. Okay, so I kind of give him a pass, but I will give you this. You're right about that. Billy Joe, instead of getting that, you know, when he, you know what I'm saying, when you had that white girl in that nasal spray, instead of going back to Andre,
that little La Coca in there, bro.
Yeah. Instead of fighting Andre, he said, "Oh man, what's that? What that title making up there at 168? Oh, I'm gonna go fight this nigga. She fat." All right, you're absolutely right, Charlo. Hey, Charlo was in that hallway when Jacob walked by. He changed this motherfucking tune.
Exactly.
So, hey, I agree with you. Now, Andre, he's the dude that a lot of cats ain't trying to fight, but at the same time, like we said, now that he's fighting, making money, he's gotten comfortable. He's cool. He ain't pushing no more. So no, I agree with you, right? I can't say fuck 160 because I still want to see these boys do it. You know, because I'm in the media. I'm in the media, so I can't say fuck 160. I got to still say we boys do it. But here's the thing also about being in the media. When you're in the media, for example, we talk about Rashidi Ellis, right? And nobody talks about this cat. So if I take the mindset that some of these fans have, Rashidi Ellis would never be mentioned or fucking talked about.
Right.
How do fighters get in that position?
Mm-hmm.
They have to be talked about.
Right. Right.
So part of the job is whether you want to believe he's something or not. It's our job as media to be fair and talk about it.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, if you're a fan and you follow, that's cool. You donate, that's cool. We appreciate all that. But at the end of the day, don't come in here with no fucking agenda. You will get booted. Plain and simple, man. We're keeping shit fair down the line. I expect you guys to keep it fair and down the line. It is what it is. Speak facts. You can have opinions, but they must be developed from facts, man. At the end of the day. You know,
Right.
dude going off from Dillian White saying bullshit, don't even understand how things work and trying to argue.
Oh, he was playing front where he was jumping so many topics.
Yeah, he was all over the place because he was getting killed on each topic he was trying. And he didn't understand how things work. Nigga, he's a mandatory because he won an eliminator. Nigga, that doesn't mean that.
No, an eliminator, yeah, that's not, yeah, an eliminator, no.
There's actually like a situation where you could fight for an eliminator, but then you need one more fight after that. They actually did that with Yordenis Ugas, if I'm not mistaken, when he beat Omar Figueroa. He had it was a title eliminator against Omar Figueroa, but Yordenis Ugas isn't anybody's mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
He's not anybody's mandatory right now. No sanctioning body has mandated Yordenis Ugas fight anybody.
Well, a title eliminator doesn't automatically make you the mandatory, and that's the thing.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Unless they say, whoever, like they did, like you said, with Oscar Rivas and Dillian White, and the same thing with Dominic Brazzelli. They specifically said the winner will become the mandatory.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah, Mauricio Suleiman will announce that, bro.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
So just because he's the title eliminator does not mean that he's the mandatory.
Right. Right. Just
All
like
the mandatory does is get you the number one spot. That's it.
Well, it doesn't even get you the number one spot. Because Dominic Brazil was a mandatory sitting at number 3 or number 4. What it does is it just says, hey, you're the next guy that the champion has to fight. That's it. That's all it does. And it's a tag. Mm-hmm. It's a tag that organization gives you. Now, most organizations will mandate the number one fighter. That's typically how that shit works. You know what I'm saying? But that's why it was an anomaly when Dominic Brazil got it over Dillian White, and Dillian White was sitting there for so fucking long, right? Like, I agree, Dillian White should have been mandated, but he wasn't. It was Dominic Brazil. It is what it is. He wasn't mandated, or he wasn't at least the mandatory, said to be the mandatory until he beat Oscar Rivas. That's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right, man. Always
motherfuckers don't know shit about boxing, but want to argue, bro. It's funny, bro.
Hey, man, there's always one, man. There's always one, man. So, all right, man, as always, y'all, go to 3kingsboxing.com for the latest and greatest what's going on in the sport of boxing. We'll be back here every day despite the trials and tribulation.
We'll be back here every day to block another motherfucker tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So, stay tuned for that. I'm weeding these niggas that don't know boxing. They getting weeded out, bro. I do not want them on my channel. I'd rather have a channel of 15 niggas than 700 people that don't know boxing. I don't want that, bro. Real talk. I do not fucking want that, nigga.
I got this message by your boy Texan, who's in the building. Texan said it's one of those regurgitated arguments they hear at gossiping channels. There's no reason when it applies to them. Both sides are very flawed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean,
man, you know, hey,
it is what it is, man. That dude got killed by me before on Bo's channel. I was playing nice and shit. I know exactly who he is. You know what I'm saying? We had a debate. When was that, Bo? Like 2017 or so? Because I remember.
That's him?
Yeah, that's him. On your channel.
That was him?
Yeah, that's him. So yeah,
don't call me a nigga. Don't call me a nigga. Don't call me a nigga.
Yeah, he the African dude. I murdered the shit out of him on Bo's channel. That shit was easy work. You know what I'm saying? And we had a bunch of people watching. They was basically like, yeah, the nigga didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, just like he didn't know today. So I don't know why he tried me again, but I mean, I guess he likes losing, man. That's what it is.
He probably went to one of them boxing groups, beat one of them D-level fighters and thought he was ready for elite.
Yeah, he beat I ain't gonna mention the guy's name, but he beat one of the dudes that he's a semi-popular dude. He said he beat him. And I was like, man, that dude don't know shit about boxing. What the fuck does that got to do with me? You know what I'm saying? That nigga can't tell you Vasyl Lomachenko from Alexander Usyk, nigga. What the fuck does that got to do with me?
Man, look, go to 3kingsboxing.com for the latest and greatest what's going on in the sport of boxing. We got news, interviews, all that's coming up, man. The realest channel, the realest podcast. And as y'all see, we do shit live, and we can give you facts off the dome, okay? So check out 3 Kings Boxing. Be here tomorrow. Another nigga might get blocked. He might not get blocked. HNRC, take us out.
Y'all know what to do, man. Go to Twitter at 3 Kings Boxing, Instagram at 3 Kings Boxing, Facebook.com right here /3 Kings Boxing. Of course, most importantly, go to 3kingsboxing.com for the latest and greatest in boxing news and information, as well as interviews, man. And I'm gonna take us out with this comment right here by my man Mark Eric McNair. He said, "Damn, y'all on point. Fuck them other cats. Only a couple know shit, and most have an agenda anyways." Exactly, dog. Pure facts, unfiltered, unbiased, uncut boxing talk, and we keep it down the middle. So come back tomorrow. We'll be here. But for right now,